live, tell the truth, and shame the devil. I love being black. All right, people, you already know what time it is. This is live, uncut, unedited. We got some special guests tonight in the house, but I'm not going to introduce them. But come on in, people, and wait till a few more people come on in. Make sure you guys share this video, share this live. We're live, uncut, and unedited. We stuck to our word. We just a little tap late, but that's all better late than never. And I just thank you guys for tuning in tonight, and hopefully we can learn something. And a lot of times we do a lot of talking, but we don't read on people. We don't research on it. But tonight is the night that we're going to make something happen. And I need you guys to share this video, tag someone in this video. We got a hot 45 minutes. I'm not going over 45 minutes, I promise you. And we're going to do it in that period of time. And I want to give a shout out to Teamwork Inglewood real quick for allowing me and my partner, Vera Giles Norris, for being navigators to bring this platform to you guys today. We want to give a shout out to Teamwork Inglewood, Mark Mitchell, the associate director. I'm not introducing yet now, Mark. Just hold on. We need a few more people to come on in here, but I just had to do that. Make people know what it is. All right, people, come on in, come on in. Also, we're streaming live by Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, X. So those are 3 platforms that we're on tonight, and we want to be transparent, as we said, as we always do. You know what we do, and what? And shame the devil. That's what we do. We tell the truth and shame the devil here. All right, let me put my phone on silent so it won't ring, because my phone be ringing off the hook, and I want to. All right, people, come on in. We got 55 people so far. We need at least about 100. Then we'll be with all the platforms and all the Johnny come late. What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? All right, come on in, people. This is live, uncut, unedited. This is where we tell the truth and shame the devil. And that's what we want to do, tell the truth tonight, speak facts and truth. We got a great person here tonight. But I would not introduce him because I promised I had to sit down and let Mark introduce him. But come on in, a few more people. Make sure, let me see how many people share this live so we can get started. I'm going to pin it up tonight. And I appreciate you guys for taking the time to allow us to come into your homes, into your place of our work and all that. All right, we got 4 shares so far on Facebook. So I need at least 10 shares. All right, let's get it going, people. Live, uncut, unedited. Make sure you share it in your groups. Share it. All right. We got over 200,000 followers. Hey, we won't reach everybody, but right now we want to reach maybe 2 or 3% of that. And I'll be happy with that. So come on in. Also, the lines are open, 872-299-0808 if you have a question. Now we won't be able to take every question, but we'll take some. Not all questions now. All right. Okay. A few more people coming on here. All right. We got like 71 on Facebook. We get about another 10 more people and we can get started. All right, people. This is live, uncut, unedited. Close my door. All right, we're gonna get started, Mark. They just have to catch up with us. They just have to listen and rewind and go back and get started. All right, we got enough people on here. All right, we got enough people on here with all the platforms. All right, I want to introduce Mark Mitchell, the Associate Director of Teamwork Inglewood, which I'm up under him. I'm a navigator. Also, my partner, Vera Giles Norris. We've been working with his organization for at least 2 years. 2 years. 2 years. So I want to thank you so much, Mark.
We've done a lot in 2 years.
Go ahead. 2 years.
Done a lot in 2 years. I mean, we've talked about everything from sexual harassment to
evictions,
domestic violence, marijuana laws. We've done a whole lot on this platform, and most of the time I don't get involved. I just let y'all, since y'all so good at this thing, right? But
right.
Tonight I say, this is my man. I got to come out for him, right? So just a little bit about me. Can you hear me, Martin?
Loud and clear. Loud
Okay,
and clear.
so I'm a guy with 13 felony convictions, been in and out of prison. But the last time I got out, I went back to school. I got 4 degrees. The latter two were masters in criminal justice and masters in political justice. I took that skill set, that dual lens, and I created the #1 reentry program on the south side of Chicago, the #1 navigator program on the southern part of Cook County. All right, the only legal clinic on the south side of Chicago. So I'm saying that not to say that brag about what I do. I'm just trying to tell you I know what I'm talking about. That's all. When I get ready to say what I'm saying. So historically, I've been arrested enough to know enough about how people feel about the public defender's office.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in cells like the bullpen. You know, Mark, I was in Cincinnati at the museum, Black
Mm-hmm.
History Museum, and I walked around the corner, right, in the museum, and there was this big room. And guess what they called it? The bullpen. It was a slave. So slaves used to be put in the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
In 26 in California, they got the same name for the place, the bullpen.
That's what they call it.
I almost cried. But I was sitting in the bullpen and I'd watch this a public defender walk up to a guy, call his name and be the wrong name sometime. Sometimes be the right name. Ask him something, a few questions. The next thing you know, they on track. I watch how the guy just said, "Man, I might as well plead to this. This guy ain't interested in me." I've watched people call home and say, "Mama, look, they gave me a PD. I ain't gonna make it. Please give me a lawyer. Please give me a lawyer." And I watched the mother sell everything to get him a lawyer. And guess what? The outcome was the same as what the public defender was offered. But at least with the lawyer, they felt as though they were getting represented.
Mm-hmm.
You see the difference?
That's
They felt that somebody cared about them, right? So I mean, so well, I've been not a fan of the public defender's office all my life until now, until this brother here, Sharone Mitchell, took over.
mm-hmm.
All right, I've watched him. I kept my eye on him. I've studied him, and hey, he the real deal. I read a report about how people feel about the public defender's office, and so that's why I say, I know y'all got a lot of questions. I know y'all got a lot of concerns, and he's at home and he's elected to come on this platform and talk to us about what's different about the public defender's office. Now he will take some questions, but he ain't gonna talk about your case tonight, right? You have to call somebody else. So, Sharone, I'm gonna let you. You want to just tell us what's new with the office and go from here?
Yeah, well, first off, thank you all so much for having me here today. I feel so blessed to be here, to be the second most talented Mitchell on this call. I'm gonna do my best anyway. Um, you know, as as we talked about, I've had the blessing of helping running the public defender's office since 2021. I was appointed in April of 2021, and my goal is to improve the quality representation that our office delivers to our communities. I'm from the city of Chicago, South Side. I'm sitting here right here on the South Side. Been here my whole life, and the unfortunate reality is the public defender is a utility to our community, just like the lights and the water. We know how the criminal justice system looks, and we know the public defender's office represents the vast majority of people in the system. So I'm really happy to come here and talk about what we do. I'm happy to face the music. I know there are folks that are not all happy with our office sometimes. I know there are lots of people out there that have been pleased with the services that we represent. I'm here to try to answer as many questions as I can. Um, I know there's a perception out there that public defenders are not real lawyers. I will say that my student loans suggest something different. Uh,
Uh-oh.
but with that said, I'm really, really happy to be here and talk about the work that we do in the public defender's office.
Okay. I got a caller already. Her name is Dr. D. Hey, Dr. D, how you doing? You're live, uncut, unedited. You have a question? Dr. D? All right.
I'm sorry, I was away from my phone. I have my
Okay.
earpiece in. No, I do not have a question right now, but I will.
Okay. All right.
I
All
will,
right.
so you can come back to me.
Okay. Partner, I'm going to let my partner say. So you want to say something right, real quick, partner?
You
Or
know
you want
what? Right now, I'm just listening, but I guess
to?
I'll say this. I agree with Mark. When it comes to public defenders, I still kind of feel that way. So I'm hoping that you could just say something to help us, have a clear understanding that public defenders do the work. That you may spend the money on the attorney and still not get the same effect. What can you say to help people who don't believe that today? Is it anything you can say, sir?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I mean, the sad reality is the criminal legal system for decades and decades and decades have been, the laws have been written by prosecutors, have been written by police. And they've created outcomes that work to the detriment of our community. Whether we're talking about sentencing laws, reentry laws, access to courts, those laws have been written by people that want to see Black people in prison. Public defenders fit into the system as the representatives of those communities who are facing a really tragic system. What I will say, though, is that while the media has one perception of what public defenders are, and through word of mouth, there is a perception of who public defenders are, I would say that the Cook County Public Defender's Office is not perfect, but I think it's one of the finest public defender's offices in the country. It's one of the most well-resourced public defender's offices in the country. And what we have are 500 experts in criminal law. There is this idea that you can go get yourself, quote unquote, a real lawyer, and that real lawyer will solve all problems. And I've seen time and time again people from our community run into a paid lawyer, thinking that something different is going to happen, and getting disrespected by having to pay for it. I'm not going to sit here and act as if the public defender's office has been perfect. I'm not going to sit here and act as if that caseloads in the past have not been quite high. What I can say is, with the public defender's office, you are going to get a person who's an expert in the law. And while there are people out there that think they can do it better on their own, or pay some other person from outside our community to change the reality, what I've seen, and with my opinion, I'm highly biased, that the public defender's office has a monopoly on really solid, really professional, really accomplished attorneys. And there's no law office in the city, quite frankly, that employs more Black defense attorneys. Mm-hmm. And there's no office in this city or county that has the expertise that we have.
Okay. I want to say all my life, I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I was born and raised, and I've always been taught, the stereotype, never use a public defender. They're gonna just tell you to plea bargain and get it over with and things like that. And a lot of people have gotten off with public defender. They start off with a paid lawyer, and they could no longer afford the lawyer anymore, and so they went to the public defender and got off. I know a case of that right now. Right now, a person got off on a murder charge. My nephew, he got a paid hire lawyer, and he couldn't pay him no more, and the public defender took over, and he's out of jail today. It happens.
Yeah, I mean, your cousin, your nephew isn't alone. The public defender's office has secured hundreds and hundreds of not guilties each and every year. I don't expect our words to change people's minds, right? I don't think I'm going to be able to talk people into believing what they believed for years and years and years. But what I can say is that I believe that we're some of the finest attorneys in this county, and I've seen through my experience people thinking that they're going to get something they're not. If you can afford an attorney, the law says that you should hire that attorney. But what I believe is that if you cannot afford an attorney, you're not going to get a bad representation here in Cook County. You're just not. We have 500 attorneys. We have investigators. We have support staff. We have mitigators. We have specialists. There isn't an office really outside of Cook County that's more well-resourced than ours. And that's not to say that we don't want to improve, right? That we are constantly trying to work with our commissioners to get more funding to hire more attorneys. But I think there are a lot of people that think things about public defenders that isn't true here in Cook County.
Okay. I have a question real quick. Also, I interviewed your partner. And he was telling us, I remember very, he was telling us that if you get arrested and you need a lawyer, it's a number that we can call that you guys will come and represent us in jail. You know.
Yeah, so one of the things I talked about is that the Cook County Public Defender's Office has a lot of resources,
See.
and one of those resources we have here in Cook County is our arrest hotline. So
Okay.
if you are a person or you have a loved one that is in custody, any type of police station, anywhere in the county, you can call our office at 844-817-4448, and an attorney from the public defender's office will answer the phone 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And if a person
Can you
needs
repeat that
visiting,
number again?
yeah,
Can you repeat
absolutely.
that again, please?
Absolutely. 844-817-4448. If you have a loved one who's in custody, who is in need of legal assistance, that is a free service, and that attorney will answer that phone. And if you need an actual visit to any police station anywhere in Cook County, an attorney from the law office of the Cook County Public Defender will come to the police station to ensure that your rights are protected.
Okay, and there's also a warrant hotline. Is that true for that same number?
Exactly, the same exact number. If you think you have a warrant, a bench warrant, and you're not sure, you can call that number. An attorney will pick up, try to go through what's going on with your situation and point you in the right direction on whether you have a warrant, and if you have a warrant, what you need to do to resolve that.
So they ain't gonna call the police on them, is it?
Nah.
No, I know that, right? So look, Chief Mitchell. So look, you understand this hostility and this anger and frustration towards your office, right?
Yeah, I understand it.
And what did that look like to you on day one?
So I grew up in the city, right? I was born in South Shore. I was raised in West Pullman, and now I live in Morning Park. I was blessed. I was blessed in the sense that I had a mother and father that sent me in the right direction. I don't think there was anything special about me that changed the trajectory of my life other than my parents. And I got the opportunity to go to school, and I got the opportunity to go to law school. And I saw the great luck that I had. And quite frankly, I didn't think I deserved it, right? I saw my classmates, and I look at a picture of my kindergarten class, and I see more guys locked up than more guys that went to school. And I think that was only because I had a lot of luck with my parents. And I wanted growing up to take that degree that I got, both my college degree and my law degree, and help people, right, that didn't have the same luck that I had. And as I did my studies in law school, what I learned very quickly is that if I wanted to be a person that represented poor folks that grew up around me, that the only type of law that was available was two types of law, or two types of lawyers. It was working with poor people. It was being a prosecutor, or it was being a public defender. That's it. Those are the only two options. And having family that's been locked up, know what it feels like to be driving down the street. You see a police car in your rearview window and getting scared that you're going to get locked up. I knew that the prosecution just wasn't for me. So that's why I wanted to be a public defender. And I interned in the public defender's office my first year in law school. People, when they're lawyers, they usually intern in the summer between first year and second year. And I knew I was interested in the public defender's office, but I didn't know yet that I definitely wanted to do it. And I will say that I made my mind up that I wanted to be a public defender about 2 days into the internship. It was at 26th Street. It was behind the courtroom. I was working for an attorney by the name of Preston Jones, and as an intern. And I went in the back, and I saw a guy I went to school with. One of those guys I was talking about is in that kindergarten picture. And he looked at me with my suit on, and I looked at him with his suit on, and we didn't understand. I didn't understand how a man that was good as him, a kid that was good as him, ended up in the situation that he was in. And he couldn't understand why a person who grew up where I came from was in the situation I was in on the other side of the bars. And it was at that point I decided that I was going to be a public defender. And that was the only type of law that I could practice. And I would say that that is not that's not a unique story. You know, I've been a public defender for about 3 years. I've sat on every single interview panel. We've hired over 100 attorneys. I've sat on every single interview panel, whether those folks got the job or they didn't get the job. And what have I've tried to build and what have I've talked to are people that are that committed to people's freedom. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that every public defender is the greatest attorney in the world. But what I will say is that you have an office that is committed to freedom, that we work hard and that we're well resourced and we're going to do the best job that we can do. So, you know, that's all. I understand where people are coming from. I'm from out here. I know people have been taken advantage of. But I also know that some of the time the people have been taken advantage of, that the fault lies with the laws, right? Not so much the representation. People don't understand that sometimes as public defenders, we have not done the best job informing people what the law is. But I know those laws have been written to harm our communities. And along with trying to hire the best attorneys that we can, to put resources into the office, our office is committed to helping to change the laws and working in Springfield, hiring lobbyists to try to take the experiences that we have as public defenders, as people in this community, and take those to Springfield so that the laws aren't always against us, that they don't always force us to plead guilty or send us to prison, or when we get out of prison, not be able to get jobs or education. So we're doing the best job that we can. But to your answer, I know why people feel disrespected, why they don't trust us. And all I can say is my commitment is that we're doing the best that we can to make it happen for our communities.
I have one more question, real quick. Tell us, I was reading up a little bit about you, and tell us about the community work that you've done for some of the nonprofit organizations like St. Leonard's.
Yeah, you know, I've tried to, you know, lawyers, I think sometimes think that their only value is in the courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly a lawyer's primary job is in the courtroom. But I think that there are a generation of lawyers that understand that their value is both inside and outside the courtroom, and I've tried to do that. So, you know, I've certainly sat on some boards like St. Leonard's, which I had to leave that board once I got this job. But I've tried to work with a lot of organizations like, you know, Live Free Chicago and Illinois Prison Project, because I understand that there is value in representation. That's our day job, but there's also value in trying to change the laws. There's also values in trying to support people who are coming back home, and that's what I've tried to do.
Okay, I want to take a call. I think I have a caller. Helen, is that you? You have a question or a comment or anything? No.
Hi, yes, Mark. I'm sorry, Martin. Yes. Hi, Vera. Hi,
Hey.
Mark. And congratulations to you, Mr. Mitchell. So I have two questions. The first question, and this is the great debate in our community: should we get out the car if the police ask us to get out the car? Now, got some more content to add with that question. If we fear for our lives, and if we feel that we would be hurt if the officers are aggressive, and we have, we've handed over everything that they've asked us for, and they still want us, to get out the car. That's my first question. And my second question is, what constitutes a illegal stop by the police?
An illegal what by the police?
Is that clear?
He said he didn't hear the last question. Illegal. You said illegal. What constitutes? Go ahead.
What constitutes an illegal stop?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I see in the chat we have folks that say that you have rights, that you don't have to get out the car. If I were advising my son, I'd want my son to come back home. All right, I'd want my son to survive the incident. And what I've seen is a lot of scared officers out there. I've been pulled over numerous times in the last year. I see young officers, I see scared officers, and I would be afraid that if you did not obey an order, that you could be right, but you could be dead. So my advice would be if an officer asks you to get out of a car, then you get out of that car. And if you feel like you're not being treated fairly, that you do the best you can to remember everything that happens, that write down what you thought happens and fight that case in the courtroom as opposed to in the street. It is embarrassing. It might make you mad. It might make you frustrated. But I want to see our people come home to their mother, to their grandmother, to their people. And I fear that if you are seen as disobeying an order, that you might have an officer that decides that you are a threat and take your life. And we have a long history of that here in Cook County. Um, in terms of a legal stop, it's a little bit of a complicated question, but essentially, officers have the ability to pull you over if there's a violation of the law, and they have the ability to search your car if there is essentially they have consent to do so, or they've arrested you and they're taking you out of the car. So it's always best to, if they ask you to, can you search your car? I would decline. But if they decide to do that, then you've got to fight that in court with the Fourth Amendment motion.
I'm gonna add to it. When you said they asked you to step, asked her, the question was they asked you to step, I would definitely say, you know, I don't consent to any searches because they're wearing a camera now. So while at the same time you say, yeah, I'm getting out because you're making me get out, but I don't consent to any searches.
Exactly.
Period. And that's on tape. So that's when it becomes an illegal search at that point.
Exactly.
You see, so right. So yeah, I got pulled over 150 times, so I kind of know that,
Got a
Well,
little bit of experience.
right. But make sure, like you say, if ain't no camera on, I'm getting on the car, out the car on the ground, quick, right. But yeah.
I want to say this too. I've been pulled over so many times and asked to get out the car. I remember the last time I got pulled over, I was so frustrated. I didn't want to get out, but I said, you know what? Do the right thing. Just go and get out. And I've learned from another friend of mine, he's an attorney. He said, Martin, you can't fight the police in the street. You have to fight them in the court. And that's what I do. So if I have a problem, even though it may inconvenience me and I might feel a certain type of way, my emotions flared up, and I'm from the hood, and so I fight it in court, and I live to see another day.
So, so let me move on. So Sharone, you are opening an office in Roseland. Can you talk about that?
Yes, sir. One of the things that I don't love about our office, I love a lot of things about our office, but one of the things that I don't love, and I think this is an experience that's shared by many attorneys in our office, is that people have to engage us in the courthouse. All of our offices are in the courthouse. You got to go through the metal detectors. You got to go to that place where a lot of bad things happen to our people. And I think that we have the reputation that we work for the state, and sometimes people believe that because we're in the building that the state is in, right? And especially for somebody who lives in an area not close to 26th Street, it's hard to get to. Or if you got a court case in Markham and you live out somewhere, it's hard to get to. So what we are trying to do is start to build community offices in the place where our clients are at. And we want them to be able to make contact with the public defender's office and get the things they need to get out of the system in a safe way. So we are opening up our first Freedom Defense Center in the Roseland community. I'm incredibly proud, and I think a lot of people in our office are incredibly proud that are working on this project, because it wasn't the county or the public defender's office telling the community what's going to go into this office or what we're going to do in this place. For a year, we met with two groups. One group on the inside, men in Cook County Jail, who have had experiences, many who have ties to the Roseland community, and another group of people on the outside leaders within the Roseland community. And we basically asked, what should this office look like? What should this office sound like? What should it be called? What should we be doing there? And we took, I think we had 13 meetings with each of the groups, and we came together with a plan to build the Freedom Defense Center. And we anticipate that that will open up in Roseland later on this year. That's going to be the first office. We're going to have a second office that's going to be in Austin, and we're going to try to take those experiences and see where it takes us. But the idea is to create an office within the community so that you can engage with the public defender's office without having going to the courthouse.
Okay. So look, let me ask you. So we had Iris Martinez on here, right? Was that last month, Martin?
Yeah, last month.
The
Yes, last month.
Cook County clerk. The Cook
Right.
County clerk, right? So she was talking about some 10,000 warrants that got quashed or something like that. Can you expound on that?
You know, I'm not familiar with that particular process, but I know that there's been a lot of effort in quashing warrants. If you think you have a warrant, right, you know, I would say call 844-817-4448. But, you know, I commend Clerk Martinez. I know there's been some work done with Clerk Martinez and Attorney Fox on, you know, quashing some of the warrants. But, you know, I know there's still, you know, thousand people out there that have them. So, you know, if you think you have a warrant, you can call that hotline number.
So say, just give me a little role play right quick. Say I call that line, right? And I say, hey, do I have a warrant? You look it up and you say, okay, yeah, you got a warrant from 1989, right? What's the next question you ask me?
I think what the attorneys try to do is figure out where that warrant's out of and connect you with attorneys that are on that at that location.
Attorneys.
And each courthouse is going to be a little bit different, right? So there are lots of different courthouses in Cook County. You know, there are 4 or 5 suburban courthouses. Obviously, there's a city courthouse. So I don't think every experience is going to be the same. But you know, I would just say call that hotline. You'll get the opportunity to speak to a lawyer, and they'll walk you through that process.
So you say when they connected with the lawyer, that's someone from your office?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's okay. That's what I'm saying. Okay, great. All right.
My partner, go ahead, partner. She had said something.
I'm sorry, girl.
No, it's okay. Because you know what? I'm still reading through the comments, and I guess I have this question. I hope you can walk me through it. So if I'm fighting a case, I got a public defender, and I'm not liking my public defender. I'm really feeling like the public defender is not doing me the service or is not handling the business, so to speak. What's my next step? What can I do if that's how I'm feeling? To get another public defender, and that's the first part of the question. The second part of the question is just walk us through like some of the, because like now and listening to you, I really feel your heart. I really feel your passion. Walk us through some of the things that, you know, some of the questions that can be asked or, you know, just some of the things that people could do when they have a public defender that they're not feeling, and what steps they could take. So I hope I'm answering the question where it makes sense.
No, I definitely understand. I wish I had a complicated answer for you, but it's really simple. I would ask to speak to a supervisor. Every public defender in our in our office, all 500 attorneys have a boss, and I'm really proud of our leadership team in the public defender's office. We have one of those leaders in the chat right now, Takinia Nixon, who is one of the finest attorneys I know. Who's a supervisor out in our Markham courthouse. We have another member of our leadership team, Janessa, who is one of our leaders on our administrative side. And I think that we just have this really great supervisors, right? People that, you know, specialize in communicating with folks. You know, these are stressful times, right? When you're talking about somebody's life and liberty, I think that every client deserves to feel comfortable with their representation. And if they don't feel comfortable with their representation, I think that they need to ask for a supervisor and for that supervisor to intervene. Now, I know a lot of times conflicts exist because us as public defenders have to deliver difficult pieces of information. Like I said, these laws have been written by police and prosecutors for literally years and years and decades and decades and decades. Those laws are built to stop people from going to trial, to serve long sentences, to kind of cover up for a really bad system. So I know oftentimes those conflicts happen when we have to deliver not so great news, but every attorney has a supervisor in this office and they deserve to be respected. And if they don't feel like they're being respected, that goes all the way up to me. I'm very uncomfortable with this fact, but every office that we have has my picture on it. I feel bad for the people that got to work in that office. But my name on that office means that we will respect our clients. We will respect this community. This community is not foreign to me. It's not a group of people. It's not them. It's not them over there. It's my people. And we will respect our clients. And I think we have lots of attorneys, and lots of support staff, and lots of investigators that do that every single day, no matter who's running the office. But the buck stops with me. And if you feel you're disrespected, keep on asking up the line, and eventually you'll get to me.
Okay. I'm going to go to the phone call. Dr. D, you've been there now. Do you have a question or comment right now?
I do.
Okay,
I do.
come.
I have a question. Hello,
Yes.
everyone.
Hey.
Well, I have several questions. Hello. Good evening. Number one, do you think that the attorneys there in the PD office is overworked? Because you said you only have 500. And I'm not trying to offend you anyway. 500 is not enough for this county. This Cook County is huge, and we seeing criminal activity getting worse and worse and worse. Do you all plan on hiring more attorneys to be able to come back all these crimes that's happening and be able to represent these people in court?
Thank you for that question. Listen, I'm not going to sit up here and say that we have enough attorneys. We've been trying to do our best to grow. We've hired about 100 attorneys since I've been there in the last 3 years. We're going to continue to grow our size. I would say that everybody would love it if we had lower caseloads. We've lowered caseloads, but they're not where they need to be. We want caseloads to be lower. With that said, I am comfortable with saying that I believe that you are going to get a good experience if you have a public defender. That the public defender will have resources necessary to do the job. And to get specifically, all of our attorneys have access to investigators. All of our attorneys have access to mitigators. All of our attorneys have access to support staff. That is just something that you may not get with a private attorney. Now, listen, if you can afford a private attorney, you need to go and hire that private attorney. That's the law. The public defender's office is only for folks that cannot afford their own attorney. But I put our office up there with any office, any public defender's office in the country. And I agree with you that we need more staff. I think there's a good way to resolve that. Call your local your commissioner, your Cook County commissioner. Look up who your Cook County commissioner is. Say that the Cook County Public Defender's Office needs more support, and call your local, state rep or state senator and talk about the need for more support. But whether you do that or not, I can tell you two things. We're going to continue to fight for more resources. But when you do have a public defender here in Cook County, I think that you are in a good place. I can't say and promise you that your situation is going to work out perfectly. Like I said, these laws have been built by those folks to make sure our people are locked up. But I think that you're going to get a fine legal representation.
Okay. Real quick, we got about a good 5 more minutes. Also, I was reading something about in your bio. It was saying that you fought against mass incarceration as well, too.
Yeah, I've been blessed in my career. I've had 2 stints at the public defender's office. My first stint, I worked as an attorney in courtrooms. I started at the juvenile building, representing parents. I went over to the misdemeanor courthouse and then worked in the felony courthouse. I left for a hot minute. I worked on policy. I worked on a number of different laws that help decarcerate. And we still got a long way to go, but a lot of anti-mass incarceration policies. And then I came back to the public defender's office. And I'm in this role hoping to lead the office and trying to continue to support the attorneys that are doing the work, support the support staff and investigators and mitigators and specialists that are doing this work. So
I got one more question, and I'm gonna turn it over to Mark. One more. Mark, you got a question? I got one question too.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Now, tell me. You've been in office since what? 2021, right? Correct.
yes, sir.
Okay. Now, how do you want your legacy here in the public defender's office to go? What are your goals? Where are you trying to take us to? You know.
Yeah, it's pretty. I wish I had a more complicated strategy, but
Mm.
my strategy is this: I want to leave the office better than when I left it.
Okay.
I want to reduce the caseloads and workloads. I want to hire people that want to do this work, that aren't here for a stepping stone, that are here because they want to liberate people. I want to make sure that our attorneys and our support staff and our investigators have the things they need. Put simply, I just want to make this office and make this criminal legal system better than what it is. And that's exactly what we're doing in Springfield. That's exactly what we're trying to do in the courthouses.
Okay. Mark Mitchell, Social Director,
I'm
Teamwork
gonna
Inglewood.
I'm gonna ask the last question, and you
Okay.
can answer it or you don't have to answer it. Okay, all right. So, look, so I've historically the state's attorney's office has decimated our community until Kim Fox.
Hmm.
Kim Fox brought compassion to that office. Whether she took a lot of heat for it, but she's brought a lot of compassion. In my opinion, a lot of compassion to that office. You know, now that she's leaving, I believe you have a good rapport with her. Am I wrong, Sharone?
Yes, sir.
And now that she's leaving, and in my opinion, fear politics is won again. What do you see? Do you see any great changes coming with that office toward being more punitive, or do you think things will stay the same?
Um, we don't know who the prosecutor is going to be yet. There's still an election. But I do think that Attorney Fox brought change to that office. There were still prosecutors in that office that I don't believe did the right thing. So I don't think that like the office was perfect. But I do think she brought significant change to the office. And I am certainly concerned about how that office is going to look after her. But what I know is that the people have the power to keep any state's attorney accountable. It's really funny to me. If you look at the map of these elections and who voted for who, it is the people who are closest to the largest amount of violence that understand that we have two crises. We have a crisis in the street, right, with street violence. But we also have a crisis in the courtroom with mass incarceration.
Mm-hmm.
And they are looking for leaders that understand both of those things, that understand that people need to be held accountable, but also the system needs to be held accountable. And if we find ourselves in a time that the prosecutor does not understand both of those things, then we have tools at our disposal, the voting booth, to remove that person from their job. So what I can commit to you is that the public defender's office will continue to fight. But what I think the people on this call need to do is make sure that those leaders, whoever those leaders are that run that office, are accountable. And if they hear that things aren't going the way they should be, then they should remove that person from their job as soon as they have the ability to do so.
Thank
All
you.
right. I promise this last, but we let this slip, Mark. The Safety Act, real quick. Could you explain in just briefly about that? Briefly.
Yeah, I'll try to do as brief. And it's tough for lawyers to do brief. I'm gonna do my best.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
The Safety Act was a law. It's called an omnibus piece of legislation. Omnibus meaning lots of different parts. It was signed into law 2021. It had kind of four big pieces: sentencing reforms, police reforms, and pre-trial reforms. The thing that's most notable for most people is the end of cash bond. And we can come back. Please invite me back. We can have a whole podcast about that. But essentially moving from a system where money makes the determining factor on whether you're going to be in and out to a process where the judge makes that determination without money. So that law went into effect in September of 2024. Mm-hmm. There was a very, very, very well organized and well funded misinformation campaign to trick our communities and believing that that was a purge law, that the streets would run red with blood. And what we saw is that that did not happen. And I think that the reforms make a lot of common sense. But you got to promise me that you give me more time.
I will.
Back on the show.
That's my boss right there.
That, all right?
Associate Director Mark Mitchell.
Me and him disagree on this. Me and Martin disagree, so we're gonna get you back on this subject. All right, we definitely gonna do that.
Okay.
But, hey, thank you, sir. We appreciate you. Martin will always appreciate you and Vera and your audience. All right, so hey, hit it again, Martin.
All right, y'all already know what it is. Listen to that. Live, uncut, unedited. Tell the truth. And what? And shame the devil. Most of all, I love being black.
Thank you so much, Janessa. Thank you so much, Ken.